Board meeting. We have a quorum present today. We need to motion to excuse two board members, Dr. Jessica Cannon and Mr. Hollis Briggs. A motion to excuse.
So, second.
On favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Next, we have adoption of our agenda. I'll take a motion to adopt.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
We have approval of our minutes from our January 13th meeting, Mr. Hackney.
Minutes are in the packet. Need a motion to approve.
Second.
On favor?
Aye.
All right, public comments. You have any speakers this morning, Donna? No speakers? Thank you. Next on our agenda this morning is the consent agenda. There are 8 items before you. I'll take any questions on any items or motion to approve.
Mr. Chair, I'd like to, pull number 8 for just a clarification. I'm trying to sort out 2 separate comments that were made in the, the original request, and then I may be dealing with 2 separate grant requests. I don't know, requests. So I'd like to pull number 8, please.
Okay.
Motion to approve the other 7.
Second.
So moved.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion to approve the other 7, 1 through 7.
Okay.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. On number 8, it's approval to pursue electric vehicle charging station. I think it's charging station grant. There, in the item that's in our packet here, it's unclear to me whether we're approving 1 new charging station for the government center or 2 of them, 1 at the government center and 1 at the Sweeney plant. The second part of the question is on, at least again, in the information that was provided in here, that it appears to make the charging station open to the public, and which I think is a swell idea, but how are we going to manage that, and what does that actually look like? And is that restricted to only the 1 at the government center, or if it's going to be applied to the 1 at the Sweeney treatment plant? I know there's restrictions of getting people on and off there. So I was just looking for some clarification. I'm in support of the concept of what we're talking about, but it seemed to be different things. And again, maybe I'm misreading it, and maybe it's 2 separate items, but it's sure blended together in my mind and going through the packet. Is Lindsay here, or is there somebody you could speak to?
She's here.
Yeah, Lindsay Halleck, our Director of Public and Environmental Policy, can address that, Mr. Zappa.
So I think maybe the wrong agenda item got into the packet, because we did change that, which is why it's different from what you saw at the Sustainability Committee. So we will be applying just for 1 station. It is a dual part.
Yes.
So there would be like 2 actual charging areas within the station itself.
Mm-hmm.
But it will just be at Sweeney, and it won't be publicly accessible. It will be available to employees for their personal vehicles. It'll be open to fleet vehicles and then any authorized contractors or visitors to the plant, but it won't be publicly accessible. So I'll get back and work with Donna to get the correct item into the packet.
Okay, Lindsay will be voting on 1 of them today. So is there any way that it can be, just to make it clear to the other board members so we know what we're voting on, how do we differentiate between the 2 in today's meeting? Or
yes, so you will be voting on just 1 project that would be submitted to the North Carolina Department of Air Quality The project would be for one station that's a dual port charger, and that would be located at the Sweeney Water Treatment Plant if we are approved.
Mhm.
That would not be publicly accessible. It would be eligible for a rebate of $8,000.
Mhm.
And so we would pay, as CFPUA, we would pay for the entire project in advance, but we would already know if we were approved or not for the rebate. So we would then turn in the receipts, and then we would submit that to the state and get our rebate funding.
So it's the way it's described, though, I guess, on my packet page number 140. That would be the item that we're voting on, the description. You're probably not that familiar with the way this is worded. I mean, or numbered, I guess, but.
So it would be, you would be voting on, you would just ignore the 235 Government Center Drive part.
I see. Okay.
Yep.
All right. Oh, thank you.
Okay,
Thanks
and I'm
for
sorry, we'll get
clarification.
you the correct item.
Okay.
Okay.
With that, I move to approve number 8, Mr. Chair.
Thank you, Simon. Second.
Larry seconded.
Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
That passes. Agenda items. We'll go into our administrative reports. Linda, attorney's report. Thank you. Executive director's report. Coral?
The key indicator report, environmental report, safety report, and also the customer service update for February are all in your packet, and staff is here to answer any questions.
Mr. Chair,
Yes, Mr. Simon.
if I could ask a couple of questions about the key indicators. Carl, sorry, is that all right? We good?
Yes, sir.
Yep, thank you.
So,
Carl, on, again, my packet page number 70, the days billed charges outstanding. I know that's related to another item that we'll be talking about a little bit later, but it looks like we're at a historically high 44.05. Is that correct? Is this,
Yeah, that's correct, and John McLean can provide some context to that.
I'm sorry, I couldn't, could you speak clear into the mic? Oh, John, thank you. Hey,
Right,
John.
so as far as it being a historical high,
Yeah.
if you were to look back over a number of years, it's actually lower than it was maybe 2 or 3 years ago. But it has been on a steady incline since the moratorium on shutoffs, and we've decided to continue that. So we've seen that balance creep up. Now, the question is, does that have a negative impact on our cash flow? And to date, we have not seen, we haven't had to go and dip into our investments and liquidate our investments or pull from our other accounts to supplement our operating checking account. What that difference translates to is we're receiving on average about $7,000 less in our operating checking account per day, which is not very noticeable. We like to keep between $5 and $8 or $9 million in that account, so that is not really having any negative cash flow effects.
Thanks, John.
Yep.
And Carl, I also noticed on the following page, on page 71, under the turnover and vacancy rates, that we've seen a steady increase, really looks like dating back till October of 2020. Is this of concern to us management-wise, or is there a reason behind it, or is this just a seasonal thing?
In part, it's seasonal. I think the other dynamic is that during the summer months, early fall, we brought it down quite a bit. And I can speak from my own experience that we've been able to hire some pretty good applicants here for what were used to be difficult to fill positions. And then typically when you go through the November, December timeframe, the holiday season, it gets a little harder to attract people. So I think it's a little bit cyclical.
Great, thank you, because I personally believe CFPUA is a great place to work, and we do a lot for our employees, so that's why we always pay close attention when we see that creeping up.
Thank you.
Thank you. That's all the questions I had, Mr. Chair. Thank you.
Thank you, Mrs. Apple. Okay, we'll move into our committee reports. Executive Committee met February 3rd. The minutes in your packet. I did want to highlight one item that was discussed at the Executive Committee meeting in regards to the water restrictor program. This is going to come before the board next month, but I wanted to just kind of highlight 5 items that are ongoing in regards to that program. One is increasing the dollar amount to where an account would be considered delinquent. And correct me if I miss anything, Carl, but I think that has increased from $100 to $450 at this time. That would be considered delinquent after 60 days. So there's been an extension in the dollar amount. There's been an extension in the time. Also, there is going to be an increase in the flow that any kind of water restrictor that would be implemented would allow. What has that changed to?
We're still trying to refine that. Originally, what we had proposed for the flow restrictor was between 0.5 and 1 gallon per minute. We had a lot of comments from that from the public back in December. We have gone back and looked at, it doesn't make sense to increase that. And right now we're looking at somewhere between 1 and 1.5 gallons per minute. So that's almost like a 100% increase what we had proposed before, but we're still refining that and we'll bring that back to the Sustainability Committee.
Okay. Some other changes in regards to the payment. Anybody that is delinquent would automatically just be put on the 12-month interest-free plan. So they wouldn't have to reach out to do that. That would just automatically be done. And what this does is it kind of pushes the timeline for right now, tentatively, any kind of flow restrictor for somebody that had a delinquent count wouldn't start until September of this year. So that pushes this kind of further down the road. And then in conjunction with that, there's an effort for ongoing communication about the assist program and also just letting everybody know eventually after we vote next month, communicating all these new requirements to the community. There's also an effort to reach out potentially to the state for funding requests to help some of these customers who are going through the tough times. But as Carl said, some of these things are still being developed. It'll come before the board next month. But there's been a lot of effort in listening to the public comments and trying to address some of these concerns and push this out. So hopefully it'll give our customers be in a better position and we won't have as many. I think Carl had mentioned to me yesterday that just increasing the amount for a delinquent account to 450 basically cut that number of customers in over half, more than 50%. So that was that's a big change right there. So we're making a lot of efforts to try to make this program as good as it can be and not have any disconnections, which a lot of people are doing now, is just cutting people off with other services. So I just wanted to highlight that and see if anybody had any comments or questions on that particular item.
Mr. Chair, I'd like to compliment yourself and your leadership on the Executive Committee and all the members of the Executive Committee and our staff who put together what I think are really positive recommendations to help enhance that entire program. I'm in total agreement with all of the discussion that you had there. So, thank you for taking a seed of an idea and making it better and stronger for our organization as well as the community. Greatly appreciate that. I did have a question on another one of the items that was before the Executive Committee. It was the concerning the requesting funding for the state to offset delinquent customer accounts. And it says that the Executive Committee did not endorse the proposal. I was just wondering if there could be more discussion about that, or what was the discussion about it? And I'd be interested to know why the committee was opposed.
Jennifer.
So Dr. Cannon had brought this forward through sustainability, requesting that CFPUA send a letter to the governor, essentially on behalf of the customers, saying we need financial assistance. The feeling amongst the executive committee was that that's really not in the purview of CFPUA. We are a water and sewer service provider. As great as that idea sounds, we're not Health and Human Services, we're not a charitable organization. We really didn't feel that was in our purview to be asking money for something like that. So.
Okay. Oh, thanks. I just didn't know. We're not the public's advocate, is what it amounts to.
That's your job as a as a commissioner, but we just really felt it was a little outside the bounds of CFPUA.
Great. Thanks. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Thank you, Mr. Zeppel.
Mr. Chair,
Yes.
as concerns the flow restrictor, I hate to just repeat, but the message doesn't seem to be getting out that the flow restrictors are not creating more of an issue for people that would not normally have their flow affected. It's to take the place of cutting off service at such time as our moratorium ends. And I think the public has a difficult time understanding that, but it's only for those folks which would normally, under our policies, have their flow cut off. They're now allowed to get into this restrictor program and have at least a minimal amount of water for health and hygiene. And I think we need to, that message doesn't seem to be getting across. And so I think whatever we can do as an organization and whatever we do is to always emphasize that point, is that we're not trying to restrict flow from folks that otherwise would not have their account impacted. We're trying to help them out and provide water for health and hygiene for those that would have their service disconnected.
Thank you, Mr. Sneed. I agree. I think that all these measures that we're taking now are the result of the public comments that we've received. And you're right, we're trying to do everything we can not to cut anybody off. And by increasing the flow through what Carl's looking at now is providing a good amount of flow to provide that basic, even above and beyond a basic hygiene level. So, but yeah, that message definitely needs to continue to be put out there to the public. So, thank you.
Mr. Chairman.
Mr.
Carl, if you would mind taking off your mask, because I have to read lips a lot as I listen, and you're coming through real muted for me.
Okay.
But what you just said, I want to make sure I understand. Since this project first was presented to us, the flow at that time is now increased on this restrictor. To what degree?
So when we first proposed it, Mr. Rivenbark, was between 1/2 and 1 gallon per minute as the reduced flow. Right now, we're looking at between 1 and 1.5 gallon per minute. So that's, like almost 100% increase. And to kind of put that in context, your typical low flow plumbing devices like a faucet or a toilet or a shower head, those are in essence flow restrictors already. Just by the standard that they have to comply with. Typically, a shower head or a faucet, is restricted to about 2 to 2.5 gallons per minute, just by EPA standards. So, as we're raising our flow, restrictor quantity, to that 1 to 1.5, we want to make sure that there's still somewhat of a difference between, what the faucet can do versus what we deliver to the flow restrictor, but we recognize that maybe between around 1/2 to 1 gallon per minute was, a bit too low.
Have we received, what are the comments regarding that change? Is what you just said, it's still not getting out? Because all I see is the people, the communication that I've had with people is they think it's criminal to do anything.
Yeah.
Right.
That's what I'm seeing.
And a lot of the communication, up until now, we have focused on the getting people on payment plans. And, that those number of folks, if you remember back in December, January, we had very, very few, like close to, 0 folks on payment plans. And that has increased to over 200 now. And as we bring this revised plan back to the sustainability and the board in March, then the focus would be on, more on the flow restrictor, because everybody would be on a payment plan if that plan is approved.
So the restrictor plan, it's still not in service.
I
mean, that's-
understand that.
And that's what I think the public needs to know is we have not done this yet. And I think they think we've done this, but we haven't done it yet.
And we think, we would first get everybody on a payment plan. And then, that would go into effect if the board approves that by May 1. And then go through a couple bill cycles. And then in the September timeframe, if folks are still behind and haven't made any payments on their payment plan, then they would become eligible for the flow restrictor program. And some of the thought behind that is then by then the vaccinations have taken hold a lot more, hopefully. And based on some of the comments we've heard, it would be, we wouldn't be implementing a flow restrictor program at the height of the pandemic. It would be hopefully more at the tail end.
Well, I understand that this authority has to operate and it takes money to operate it. I understand that as good as anybody. I've been here 10 or 12, 11 years and I understand that as much as anybody in this room. But what I struggle with is a family where COVID has taken a meat axe to their jobs, their income, and they're struggling to get by. And then this looming in the future where their water is cut, and I don't care a gallon and a half, it ain't what I got at my house. You understand what I'm saying? I mean, I can't imagine that. And then the stigmatization, or how you would pronounce that word, the stigma that comes with it with the children. Hopefully by then they'll be back in school, and their parents hopefully will have some income coming in. But I don't think we can just open the floodgates and say, just use it all you want, and then hopefully one day you'll pay us back. But in the meantime, this is a tough thing for me to wrap my head around. Is doing this. I mean, water's water.
But Charlie, wasn't the flow restrictor program, when we voted on this, talking with the CFPUA people, they were going to start they had to start the pilot program somewhere, and they're going to start with the first dozen worst offenders. And, what I said was we'd leave it up to them to decide, but I don't think they're going to go in and cut off some family that's been devastated by COVID. I believe John's number were, the first, the top offenders counted for like $75,000 worth of right. And these are not, in my mind, you've got to start the program somewhere. You might as well start at the top and work your way down. Then they're going to have some sort of a track record on how this stuff goes. But I don't think it's going to start with, a family that's got a $100 bill that's due. It's somebody that's probably has been delinquent for years and owes us thousands of dollars. So I think you got to give the CFPUA a little leeway in the program. It's got to start sometime. We're kicking this can down the road now, but they haven't even instituted the program yet.
Well, when this was presented, I think we were in this room and I thought, boy, that's great. And I voted for it. But I don't think and since I've seen the reaction that I'm getting and, from people that have called up and I tell them, I say, how else would you do it? I said, we don't tax people. We run this thing based on the ratepayers that you're paying. And I think a lot of people are just saying, I don't think it matters. Anyway, it's a sticky wicket. I think everybody agree with that. And I don't disagree with what you're saying. And when it was presented to us, we talked about that, the top 15.
I mean, there's also a lot of people out there that are hurting and are still paying their bills. And, I'm not for cutting anybody's water off either, but at the same time, you got to get the program going at some point in time. And they're starting at the top, working their way down. And he's talking about 12 people a month and how many accounts there were. I mean, this thing is going to affect the people we're talking about probably this year.
It is a pilot program, and we
Yeah.
always said we were going to start with a very small number of the largest outstanding balances and work our way down. And, by starting later in the fall, it will still take us quite some time to work our way through it.
Thank you. We'll move on to long-range planning. Mr. Sneeden?
Yes, the minutes of the January 28th meeting are in the packet. At this time of year, long-range planning is pretty heavily involved in reviewing the 10-year capital improvement program. And it's our intention to review the draft plan at our meeting at the end of February, and then have it available for presentation to the draft plan presentation to the board in the March meeting, and then the final CIP in April. Normally, we've had a workshop after the March meeting so that we can, with the board, so that we can look over things afterwards. But there's been a suggestion that because we've had so few changes to the capital improvement program this year, that perhaps we could have an abbreviated program or abbreviated presentation during our board meeting next month rather than having a separate workshop. And Carl, would you elaborate on that a little bit?
Sure. The proposed CIP that we have right now is essentially the same as it was approved last year in terms of dollar value. Yes, we have moved some projects around, but we worked very hard on not increasing the CIP. So keeping that in mind, we thought that after we do a presentation through long-range planning, and long-range planning endorses the CIP, do a similar shorter presentation here at the board. But, for full transparency, make the CIP report document available to all the board members at the same time we present it to long-range planning in February. That way, all the board members have several weeks to look through it. Either it's an electronic document or a paper document, whatever people want. And, by recognizing that there wasn't really much of a change, and the way we are sitting here in this room, it's there's already other presentations. Everybody's time is valuable. We thought that this would be a reasonable approach.
So if there's no objection to that, I don't know that we need to take any action on that, but just that we would have a presentation to the board of the draft CIP plan at our next meeting in March.
Larry, I'm fine with that, but I would hope that the presentation will focus on what the changes are, so we can know what's out and what's in.
Okay.
Yeah, absolutely.
And as he said, we will send out a link to that CIP at the same time that we send a normal meeting notice for the long-range planning, which I guess would probably be next week. Is that right?
It would be the notice for the agenda for long-range planning would be next Friday.
Yeah. So you'll have a week or so to review it before the long-range planning, and I guess people are welcome to come to long-range planning if they want to discuss things in further or talk to somebody on the long-range planning. And then we'll also have the chance to comment and ask questions at the presentation at the board meeting. And that's only the draft plan, and then the final plan would come back a month later based on the comments. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Sneeden. Going to Finance Committee, Ms. Adams.
All right, the minutes from the February 3rd Finance Committee meeting are in your packet. And we have 3 items to present. First, the monthly financial report, and then an item that came through finance that we wanted the board to be aware of in terms of a budget ordinance regarding a settlement proceeds. And then lastly, the system development charges. So it's going to be the John show for a few minutes.
Yay. Good morning. So this is just a brief look at our monthly finance update. And let's see. Huh? Not pressing the right button.
There you go.
Oh, too far. There we go. Okay, so this is just to look at our year-to-date revenues versus our expenditures for our system as a whole. This is through December 31st, so the first half of the year. And you can see that our total change in fund balance, our expenditures have exceeded our revenues, for this first 6 months by about $13.1 million. And that's largely due to this capital side over here. And what this really represents is the spend down of revenues that we received in prior years. So some of it is spend down of capital reserves. So that was, operating surpluses from prior years that we parked in a capital reserve, and we're now spending that money on our capital investments. And then also the large part of it is the expenditure of bond proceeds received last year for the new raw water line that we're doing in partnership with Brunswick County, and also on the Sweeney treatment enhancements. So that's what you see there. On the operating side, this $1.3 million or so number, expenditures exceeding revenues, is again due to this large debt service payment. This number out here, that's very, very close. I think it's about 75%, maybe 60% or so of our total debt service appropriation for the entire year. So it occurs in this large lump sum in August, and then revenues play catch up for the rest of the year. So everything is looking good there. And that brings our total unrestricted fund balance to about $62.6 million. Remember that our target is $50 million. We don't want to go below that number. In terms of our revenues, I'll give you a look kind of overall. So now that last presentation was as of December 31st. This is actually as of January 31st, so 7 months through the year. So we're 58.33% through the year. And you can see that our total revenues are about 60%. So very, very, very close to that 58% number. And you can see that those percentages kind of vary greatly between the different revenue sources. But the biggest revenue source, obviously, our biggest source of revenue are our water and our wastewater fixed and volumetric charges. You can see that we're very close across the board. We're looking at these variance numbers here. So you can see that we're a little up in terms of our water volumetric charge. And that's despite being a little lower than where we budgeted at this point during the year in terms of our total ERUs. Right? And that's why you see this number being slightly below where we expected it to be. But the consumption per ERU has exceeded our budgeted expectation to a degree to where we're seeing this outperformance here for the water volume. On the wastewater side, you can see that we're kind of seeing the kind of the same thing in terms of ERUs, where our ERUs are below where we expected them to be. At this point during the year, that translates to us being below where we budgeted or thought we would be, as of January 31st by about $116,000. So not too significant. And in terms of the wastewater usage per ERU, you can see that we are a little bit above where we thought we'd be. However, that's not enough when you remember this volumetric charge over here is kind of a combination. It's like, the product of the number of ERUs and then the consumption per ERU. And we are, even though we're up right here, we're down here to a degree that we're seeing a little bit of underperformance here, about $38.8 thousand. That's year to date. Very, very close to where we'd like to see it. So with that, I'll answer any questions you might have.
For the folks at home, the ERUs are roughly equivalent to a house. And houses just don't disappear. Is the reduction or the difference in ERUs, is that based on projections, or have there actually been accounts closed?
Right. No. And we've seen growth. So there's a couple of things going on. You're exactly right that the ERU number that we project is not just a frozen in time, as of when we developed the budget. We do a projection of growth that we expect to experience during the year. And so, us being halfway through the year, we haven't fully seen that entire, growth. That's one thing. And the other thing too is kind of how we calculate these variances. Because we're on this bi-monthly billing cycle, you do kind of see some fluctuation from month to month. We have our higher ERU customers, I think, tend to be billed in even months. And so you'll kind of see this fluctuation. So here's an odd month, January, right? That's period 7. And so we normally see it kind of drop, and then in February, we'll see it kind of come back up. So it's a product of the calculation, and it's because we're partially through the year.
Okay, thanks.
Thank you.
Okay, our next item is a budget ordinance. Do you want to present this one, John, as well?
Yes. Okay. So a while back, we joined a class action lawsuit that alleged some suppliers of liquid aluminum sulfate, which is largely used in our surface water treatment process, that there was some price fixing, antitrust type stuff going on. So we joined this class, I think it was about 1.5 years ago or so. And about a month ago, we received a settlement check from this lawsuit in the amount of $1,980,015. This is kind of a textbook example of one-time revenues, and they fall under our one-time revenue policy, which precludes these one-time revenues from being used to fund recurring expenses. And so there's certain uses. There's 4 different uses that one-time revenues can be used for. They're all geared at saving ratepayers money. And when we evaluated all of those different options, we thought that paying off some outstanding debt ahead of time, resulting in interest savings to the ratepayers, was the best option. The best candidate for that was our oldest outstanding state revolving loan. And those proceeds were originally used to fund some work done at the Burnt Mill Creek sewer outfall. And so we're taking those proceeds, or what this budget ordinance does is it takes those proceeds, settlement proceeds, and it recognizes them and it appropriates them to be used to pay off that debt early. And by paying off that debt early, that results in about $300,000 in interest savings to our ratepayers. And then looking at from a rate burden standpoint, it reduces the debt service requirements through 2033 on average by about $177,000 per year. So this is a good story, and results in some savings for our ratepayers. And
John, could you explain how an average ratepayer might see this? We say it's a benefit to the organization, but how does that impact flow out to our ratepayers?
Sure.
That
so,
savings.
Yeah, all other things being equal, what that means is, we see inflation in our operating budget each year, right? And so what that means is rates are not having to go up as much as they otherwise would have, is really the how it manifests itself.
Thanks. I just want to repeat that too, because I know some people will look at this and say, wow, this great windfall. Does that mean I'm going to get a reduction in my bill on a monthly basis? And the answer is no, not specifically, but over the long run, it's going to prevent rate hikes going above a certain point. It's really going to work to keep any kind of rate hikes down.
Sure.
So it's a long range positive thing that's happened. So thank you.
This was for the period of time from 2008 to 2011. And amazingly, we got this award and we only spent 5 million on liquid aluminum sulfate during that period. So this is in my 30 years as a city attorney before, I've never seen an award this big. And to be honest, when Ben Kearns and Jim and I and the finance staff were filling out these claims, we thought we might get 1,000. That's pretty much the most I've ever seen from a class action. So we were very, very happy and pleased that we had taken the time and effort to do it.
So do we need to vote on this? I can't remember, Linda.
Yes.
Does the board need to vote?
Yes.
Okay. So I move the budget ordinance.
Second is Jonathan.
All in favor?
Aye.
Approved.
Okay. Lastly is the presentation of the fiscal year 2022 system development charges.
Okay. Right, yeah, we're not going to go through the presentation. There is a presentation on the SDCs that are included in the packet. The Finance Committee heard the presentation this past week, and this is kind of something that we've been talking about over the past few years. The calculation is really based in statute now, and that's been true, I guess, for about 3 years. And so it's kind of the same presentation that we've seen, over the past, 3 or 4 years. And so long story short, the presentation is in your packet for your review. SDCs are, let's see, increasing for both water and sewer. For water, increasing $200 to $2,120. And then for sewer, it's increasing from the currently in effect SDC by $110 up to $2,180. We will publish the calculation out on our website for public comments in accordance with state statute, and we'll do that today. That will be left up on our website through March 31st. And then we're planning on bringing the SDCs for the public hearing that's required by state law in April. And at that time, the public will be given a chance to show up to the meeting or, either in person or remotely to give their comments. And then I'll also include any comments that I've received through the web as well. And so you'll have that for your consideration at the April board meeting.
John, what kind of refresh my memory of what's the how have we been raising these over the years? I know there's been increases. I just can't remember in my mind exactly what they were and what was driving this one.
Sure. So what the SDC basically is it's a basically an equity measure, an investment measure on a per customer basis in the water and sewer system. And what drives that is when there are more, when capital investment is funded more through ratepayer resources, okay, through PAYGO funding, or when debt is paid off, okay, that's when that SDC goes up. That's the big driver of it. So, when we did that policy work back in 2017, and we looked at ramping up that PAYGO portion of the funding of our capital program. We've been funding more of that program with PAYGO dollars, and the implication on that is, okay, ratepayers are funding more of that capital investment. And so what that means is new customers that join that are benefiting from those investments that haven't paid for them, they need to reimburse those past customers because they've been paying more through rates of those capital investments. And that's really what's driving those numbers up.
John, just to be clear though, for those people who may be watching this that are not familiar with some of the terminology, et cetera, these increases will not affect your water rate at all. Correct?
Right. This is for new development that is connecting to the system.
Great. Thank you.
Okay, that's it for finance.
All right, thank you. Thank you, John. Sustainability Committee, last on our committee reports, meeting was held January 28th. I believe there's another presentation on the block rate structure.
So for Sustainability Committee, we met on the 28th, and the committee's been working on this block rate structure with CFPUA staff. Actually, they've been doing all the work. We just listen. But for a couple months now. So it's been approved by the Sustainability Committee. It came through Finance Committee last week, also got approved. So we want to present it to the board. If the board approves, then this block rate structure would then be implemented with the fiscal year 2022 budget. So go ahead, John.
Excellent. Thank you. Yeah, so today we'll be presenting a proposed change to our rate structure. Now, this is focused only on the water and irrigation side, okay, for some customers, okay, and we're looking at just that volumetric component, not the fixed charge component. So currently, both our residential and non-residential customers for water and irrigation service pay a uniform volumetric charge for their water. It's all the same price. And what this recommendation is really about is moving residential customers for their water service from a uniform volumetric rate to an increasing block structure rate, and we'll get into what that means. And then for non-residential customers and residential customers for irrigation service, moving to an increasing block rate structure from the currently in place uniform volume structure, okay? And as Jennifer mentioned, this recommendation has been through both the Sustainability and Finance Committees. Today I'm going to present the recommendation, the customer impacts, and the impacts on rate equity, affordability, and conservation. I guess looking to start a discussion, we do have some time. We are looking to ultimately adopt this in April in conjunction with the SDCs. And so we have this meeting, the March meeting, and the April meeting to deliberate and discuss this proposal. So yes, let's see. So for the past few months, the Sustainability Committee has taken a deep dive into discussing these three key concepts. One is rate equity, okay, and I'll talk about what that means going forward. Rate affordability and conservation, and talking about how increasing block rates can have positive impacts on all three of these different things. And just as a refresher, what an increasing block rate is, as opposed to a uniform volume charge, where under a uniform volume charge, regardless of how much water you consume, you are paying the same price per 1,000 gallons, whether you consume 1,000 gallons or 100,000 gallons, right? Under an increasing block rate structure, we're looking at, as consumption goes up, charging progressively more as consumption goes incrementally up, right? So that's what we're talking about here. And before I get into the specific recommendation, looking at the actual numbers, the block sizes, and the unit pricing and all that stuff, I think it's important to give kind of a high level conceptual background on how rate equity, affordability, and conservation all interact with each other, okay, and how this whole exercise was really a balance and an optimization type of exercise. And then a little bit about how we developed the recommendation that we're bringing forward today. So the overarching principle in developing this rate recommendation was increasing rate equity, okay? And in other words, our goal in bringing a recommendation forward was so that a customer under this recommended rate structure would pay relatively closer to the cost that it takes to truly serve them, okay? And so, okay, higher consuming customers are more costly to serve than lower consuming customers. And that's because high consuming customers are the ones that drive our capacity upgrades. We have to size our plants to meet peak demands, right? And under a uniform rate structure, okay, these costs are allocated to all customers. And even though, the vast majority of our customers who are average lower consuming customers don't contribute to those costs, under a uniform structure, they are being allocated a portion of those costs, okay? And so, moving to an increasing block rate structure is a way to kind of reset that and make sure that, most customers are paying closer to that cost that it truly takes to serve them. So the first exercise in all of this was figuring out what it costs to truly serve our customers, our low consuming customers and our high consuming customers. And when we did that, that basically implied a kind of a two-tiered increasing block structure, a first tier for our low consuming customers and a second tier for our high consuming customers. And so, okay, so why didn't we just recommend that we adopt that rate structure? Rate equity would be perfectly equitable, right? And we would call it a day. Well, we have these other two factors, right? We have rate affordability and conservation, all right, that we also want to achieve. And both of those goals have an inverse relationship with rate equity, and I'll explain that. So we can drop rates as low as we like to achieve greater rate affordability. But as rates get lower and lower compared to that cost of service rate, rate equity, that gap grows and rate equity goes down, okay? Now, as rates drop, we still have to achieve the same level of revenue. And so what that means is, okay, rates are dropping for these lower consuming customers. That means it has to be made up by higher consuming customers. And that pushes their rates up further and further from the cost of service rate, which decreases rate equity, okay? So that's kind of how rate affordability and rate equity kind of interact. In terms of conservation, if we were to set the rates for high consuming customers equal to the cost of that cost of service rate, right? So meaning that their rates would be perfectly equitable. We kind of looked at, okay, when doing that, would we achieve the level of water conservation that we wanted to see? And the answer was no, when we looked at it, okay? So in other words, in order to achieve meaningful levels of water conservation, rates had to be higher for those high consuming customers than the cost of service rate that we calculated. And obviously as rates go up to incentivize conservation, up and up, past that cost of service rate, rate equity goes down, okay? So the question is, how do we balance all this stuff, right? Okay. And so, what we did is we developed this model where it took our actual CFPUA customer data, read data, okay, for a certain time period. And we developed this model where we could actually iteratively plug in, these different blocks, sizes and unit pricing for those blocks, okay? And we could see the impacts on all these different things, okay? And so, doing it this way, I think, I can give you a great level of assurance that this recommendation that we're presenting today is truly an optimized solution that balances all of these things, increases rate equity, achieves a good level of rate affordability, also water conservation, and at the same time achieves the same level of revenues, okay? So I know that was a lot, but I thought it was kind of important to give that context because this is a pretty dense subject, okay? So this is a look at our recommended rate structures. And as we said, there is a separate rate structure that we're recommending for residential water, okay? And that's the one you see up here. And then recommended irrigation volume. Now this is for residential and non-residential customers. And just for context, this is our currently in effect uniform volume rate that applies to both non-residential and residential customers for water and irrigation service, okay? All right, so the first thing that I want to mention is that these are marginal. These are all marginal rates. And what that means is, so it's not like if you consume 7,000 gallons that pumps you into this, third block right there, and all of your consumption would be at the $5.15 unit pricing. So for example, if we kind of walk through an example where, okay, you're an average customer, that consumes 7,000 gallons on your water service during a bi-monthly billing period, you would have your first 3,000 be subject to the first block, your next 3,000 subject to the second block, and then your final 1,000, 331, final 1,000 subject to that third block there. So just to kind of walk through the calculation, under our current volumetric uniform structure, a customer who is paying a residential customer who consumed 7,000 gallons would be paying around $28.14 for their water volume charge. Okay, that's 7,000 gallons times the $4.02 price per 1,000 gallons, right? 7 times $4.02, $28.14. Under the under the proposed structure, this would go down to $20.09. It would be the first 3,000 would be subject to the $2.16, okay? Plus the next 3,000 would be at $3.09. And then that next piece, final 1,000 would be at $5.15. So that, when you total all that up, it would be $20.09, about a 28% reduction in the volume charge. So I just wanted to make sure that we went over the mechanics of how that worked. I don't think that I covered that enough, initially in the other presentations. Are there any questions so far?
John, when you say 7,000 gallons, I think most people may not be aware of how much they use. So would that cover a 3-bedroom, 2-bath house, 7,000 gallons for a 2-month period?
I'm not exactly sure. I have to get with Lindsay. There's some data that the EPA puts out on a per capita consumption. What I can tell you is, it's probably about 60% of our residential bills are at or below that mark. Great. So that covers a very large portion of our residential bills.
That mark being 7,000 gallons?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Chairman, this is Jonathan. Is this something similar to what was done before when the goal was to create conservation? Seemed like there was a similar rate structure then.
Right. We did have an increasing block rate structure, I believe, back when the authority was first formed, and or it might have been in the second or third year after we were formed. And I think there was a couple of factors that made us decide, to go away from that. I think you had some economic issues that occurred during that time. That was back in the 2009, 2010 timeframe. And so you had this large cutback on water consumption. My thought is, and I didn't go back and actually look at the data, is that those block sizes were likely not sized in the correct way. I think that was also a portion of it, as well. And so I think the big goal there was promoting, the conservation. We weren't looking at these different goals of fairness and affordability for our low consuming customers. But yeah, that's kind of a history there.
Thank you. I knew I'd seen this before. Not like it was something brand new that we're looking at doing. Just how is this different rate-wise from what happened way back when?
I wasn't part of the authority back then, but what I can say is, in working through this recommendation and doing the research and looking at our actual customer data, I think that there's been a lot of process to this, and I think that I stand by that process, looking at that iterative model, to develop this kind of optimized type of structure here. And so I wouldn't say it's not different in concept. It was an increasing block rate, but I think that the process behind it, I have a lot of confidence in.
John, I think there was another significant difference in the previous rate structure was that irrigation blocks, you were paying less for irrigation than you were for your residential water. And so that's somewhat flipped too, is now we're putting the emphasis on residential water is the core of what we do, and your irrigation is kind of an added benefit. So if you want irrigation, you're going to pay a little bit more for irrigation. I think that's a significant difference from before as well.
Yeah, and I think, tying this whole thing into, this is all predicated on this cost of service notion. And then it's kind of tweaked in order to achieve those other goals. And so I think it's a much less volatile, a much more stable type of structure than the one that was in effect back a number of years ago.
John, I just want to reiterate that this new rate structure, if we have roughly 66,000 clients or customers, this will bring a reduction in their bi-monthly bill and their annual bill to about 54,000 of that 66,000 customer base. Is that correct?
Right. So we're looking at, when we did the projections and applied it to our data set, what we're seeing is that 82% of residential customers would see a decrease in their average annual combined water and sewer bill. So this is cutting rates for the vast majority of our customers.
Thank you.
Mr. Chairman.
Yes, sir.
This is kind of picky, but I think out of our 66,000 customers, perhaps one will look at increasing block rates and understand that there are block rates that increase with volume of flow. And the other 65,999 customers will see increasing rate structures and say, you're raising our rates. So I think to be fair and more descriptive, we need to find another way to describe that other than increasing block rates. I don't know whether we want to call them equitable block rates or I looked up some
Larry, I couldn't agree
escalating
more.
block rates
Yeah.
or something, but we don't want to use increasing block rates because I think that could be the initial impression without really digging into it would be misleading.
Yeah, I definitely see your point, and I think that that kind of feeds into maybe a larger point on just the communication efforts. If we were to move forward with something like this, this is such an impactful change. That we would certainly be diligent and focus a lot of our efforts in communicating out to customers what these changes mean to them. And that's why we're really trying to to have these discussions now. And again, we're looking, and I haven't gotten there yet, but looking to hopefully have this go into effect in September. So we still have a number of months to debate and discuss this. But if it is ultimately adopted, we have some time to get the message out. So I think that's a great point.
Mr. Rodenberg.
It's kind of like, I just say your bills are going to go down. That's basically what it is. In 2010, the big push was, Linda, you were here. There was a guy named Chad O'Shields, and he came to every meeting we had, work session, and he was on fire for a family of 4, a family of 5, mom, dad, 3 kids. And it was a little bit inequitable then they were being punished for using the amount of water that they needed to use to run their household. And that was the kind of the driving force in the rate structure change that took place then. But this, how could anybody not be in favor of this? It's kind of like jumbo shrimp, don't say it's going up so your rates can come down. It's like a Michigan U-turn. Just say your rates are going, your price for CFPUA is going to go down. And that's, I can back that up.
Okay, challenge me with a math question here. So right now, you're saying $4.02 is the average rate for 1,000 gallons?
Yes, sir.
It
Okay,
is the rate.
excuse me?
It is the rate.
The rate,
There's
that's what I
just
mean,
not
right
an
now.
Yeah, yeah.
And if I had 7,000 gallons under the new system, I've done the math here, tell me if I'm right, it's gonna go down to $2.94 per thousand for that first 7,000 gallons?
It would be, I mean, it's for the 7,000 gallons, it would be, yeah, taking $20.09 and dividing it by, let's see, do the math real quick, maybe. $2.87.
Okay, I got
Something
94,
like
but
that.
that's okay, we're in the same, in other words,
Yep.
isn't that the final number you wanna say to people? That if you're using the average amount of water, 7,000 gallons,
I think that would be one great way. to
right now
message
you're
it.
paying $4.02. Under this, you'll only be paying 280 or 90, depending on your math.
That's right.
And that's a considerable, it's a 25% drop in the cost for the average residential customer.
That's right.
Now, different if you're at the other end of the scale.
That's right.
Now you're gonna pay more.
That's right. And we're seeing, and what we see from the data is that, yes, we have a very small portion, like 5% of our customers that are just consuming an astronomical amount of water. I mean, you're looking at the data, you're looking at, compared to 7,000 gallons for an average customer, right? These guys, these customers are consuming, in excess of 100, 200, 250, 270,000 gallons every 2 months. And so it's a very, very small portion of our customers, but they consume a lot of water. And that's through this structure, that's kind of what we wanted to incentivize or to disincentivize, right?
Because we have to
That
build
consumption.
infrastructure to carry those extra gallons.
That's right.
Great. Okay. I think that's the final number we have to be able to say to people. If you're an average customer of 7,000, right now you're paying $4 per thousand. And after this, you'd be paying less than 3. I mean, that's a 25% reduction in cost for the average residential customer. And that's a pretty important message to be able to get across.
Agreed.
John, how will, if I live in an apartment, will this rate structure change affect me at all?
The answer is maybe. Because in my head, I'm already calculating in my building, we have 1 meter.
I recognize that, and
Which means we're going to be paying $10.30 a gallon.
If
So now it may make sense to separately meter every apartment, to pay that cost up front.
right.
I'll let the expert answer.
So right, I think, most apartment buildings, most multifamily, units, customers are classified as multifamily customers, which is for our purposes, a non-residential customer. So they would still be paying that uniform volume rate. So they are not going to be subject to these changes here. So these are single family dwelling units, right? Residential customers, houses, for that top structure. Bottom structure is everyone if you have a separate irrigation meter. I say bottom structure, middle structure.
Okay, I don't understand that. So if you have an apartment building with 1 meter for the whole building, 100 apartments, what rate are they going to pay? They're going to pay on that top residential rate, or are they going to pay $4.02?
$4.02. And I think the concern there was, normally how that happens is, you're right, there's this big master meter, and then the apartment complex then divvies it out evenly over the units and that kind of thing. And, to me, I think that, yeah, you're exactly right. A large unit like that with a large meter with a lot of people tied to it, right? That would jack their rates up, right? And then we'd be in the in the situation of taking that increased cost and then allocating it to these individual customers, and that would be up to the the apartments to do. You could have some customers that were low consumers, and really, I guess, you'd only be allocated a relatively low portion, and you could have high consumers, and the apartment complexes don't have that data. So to simplify that whole thing, those multifamily units are subject to that uniform volume rate like they always have been, and those allocations can be like they always have been, for those multifamily unit owners.
John, then following up on that, is there any way in our system that a person who lives in an apartment can make a request to be put on their own, get their own meter separate from the master meter?
No.
Okay.
I guess if you own the apartment complex, you could do it, huh? I guess we could have a phrase, use less, pay less.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And one last thing on the slide that I wanted to say was these unit prices that you're seeing here, those were based off of the FY21 budget. So the revenue requirement, okay. These numbers will stay the same in whatever we ultimately, because this is really driven by customer behavior, and this is how, on average, or this is how our residential customers and our residential and non-residential customers behave for irrigation. And so these will stay the same, but these unit prices might change by a couple of pennies. So as we move into developing the FY22 budget. So I did want to point that out. Okay, so right, I guess overall, I did want to highlight that looking at this rate equity notion, so 70% of our customer bills are now paying closer to that cost of service rate compared to the current structure. So that's one thing from a rate equity standpoint. Water conservation, we're projecting a 3.4% decrease in total water output. Okay, that's pretty significant. That increase or that decrease is projected when you look at it month by month to be greater in the summer months. So this is projected to help with peaking. And then looking at affordability, we've already mentioned this 82% of residential customers are looking at a decrease in their total annual water and sewer bill. And then this structure recommendation is revenue neutral. It achieves the same level of revenue. I'm going to skip through these slides. I think we've really hit I guess what's at the kind of the core of what's going on here. I think, and we just talked about all these things. This kind of phrases it in a slightly different way. But I think what I would say is at the end of the day, I think it's really important to understand what this rate structure is doing at a high level and make sure that we're kind of all on the same page. What it does is it relieves the rate burden for the vast majority of our customers who are average, relatively low consuming customers, and it reallocates that, it shifts that to a small number of very high consuming discretionary use customers, right? And so yes, this small number of high consuming discretionary use customers will see some significant increases. But I think in moving this forward, what you would implicitly be saying is that yes, we think that those increases for this small number of customers is justified. And there's three reasons why they're going up, right? One is, okay, under the current rate structure, those high consuming customers are actually underpaying compared to the cost of service. So one driver of the increases, we're getting them up to that level where they're paying the full cost of what it takes us to actually serve them. So that's one piece, okay? The next piece is, okay, in the interest of improving our rate affordability for the vast majority of our customers, we're kind of artificially setting rates below that cost of service level for those low consuming customers. Well, that rate revenue has to be made up somewhere else, and so it's being shifted out to that small portion of high consumers. So that's another reason for those increases for those high consuming customers. And then the last thing is, okay, we need to increase rates enough to promote judicious use of our source water, both from an environmental standpoint, but then, also for a cost standpoint. Those high consumers are the ones that drive those expensive, upgrades for capacity. And to the extent where we can, cut that back, avoid or delay those costly expansions, that's good for everybody, right? So that's really what this is all about. Let's see, I guess I'll just go to just the time frame. So, as we talked about, January, it went to sustainability. Last week, February, went to finance. We're, here in February, and we have this month, next month to deliberate, discuss, looking at, in April, adopting, something that looks very, very much like this for FY22 and having that effective on September 1st of 2021. So that's just kind of the rough time frame there. And with that, I'll open up to discussion and questions.
This doesn't call for a public hearing.
As I recalled, it's not required in the statute, but we did that last time, and it's, I probably would recommend it.
It's there is a public hearing on the budget.
Yes.
And this rate structure is part of that budget proposal. And so it's not specifically, there's not a public, like, for SDCs, there's a separate public hearing that's required by state law on the SDC calculation. There's not a statutory requirement to have a public hearing on the rate structure, but it is kind of, captured by that larger budget public hearing that is required.
That's correct, and you could just do it at the public hearing on the budget.
I think we held a special meeting at the county courthouse
Yes, we did.
because we were expecting huge turnout and more than one or two people.
Yeah, I think there were maybe around 20, Donna, do you remember? That spoke at the public hearing on rate structure. Yeah.
One guy said he quit flushing his toilet.
No, he did.
That's a way to conserve.
There were a couple of years there that we did rates ahead of the budget, like in April.
Yeah.
So we did a hearing to be totally transparent, set those rates, but then had a separate hearing for the budget.
You gotta remember that.
It works better.
Yes, that's,
during the times when CFPUA had black eyes with the way they marched it out in public. People were real emotional about it.
that's correct. It was, and I think Donna's exactly right. We did it, the hearing on the rate change and then the budget separately. But the statute, as John said, doesn't require a public hearing on rate change.
But I think we did it because the rate, we were doing rates separately.
Right, exactly.
And that might be a good idea. I mean, this is an impactful change, and it's a deviation from what's been in place for the past, 8 years.
It all be well received.
Mr. Chairman, this is Jonathan. With all the moving parts we've had with flow restrictor, to me, I think messaging is going to be critically important. Again, the phrase I use, use less, pay less, something that's very simple that the average person can get a grip on and understand. I think would serve us well, whether we have a think tank that can help us use the right words, but not going in with too much information that will confuse the average person, as someone said earlier.
Yeah, I agree.
John, one of the kind of philosophical, kind of large thoughts behind this that I struggle with, I'm fully in support of what we're doing here, but we're at the base of this, we're a business that sells a product, and the product is water. And we have long conversations in all of our committees and at the main board about how we can increase the amount of water that we sell. And we're focused on growth, et cetera. And in any other business, more product you sell or that is purchased, the one who's doing the purchase at a higher level, they get a discount. The more you buy, the less overall it costs. And we're kind of turning that model on its head. And the driving force of this, of course, is conservation. So it's understandable that the public can get confused at a time. I get confused at a time on how we can continue to focus on growth, focus on selling more, and yet here we're kind of turning that around so that the highest users are actually the ones who carry more of the appropriate amount of cost of fixing that water. You know, I know this is kind of a high level thought. I know you put tremendous amount of thought into all of this, and I appreciate it. Could you comment on that and help me?
Sure, yeah. Well, first of all, we're fundamentally different than a for-profit business. We are a special purpose government. Our goal is to break even, right? Each and every year. We budget our expenditures and we set our revenues to recover those costs exactly. Now, you know, we do miss a little bit, right? But the intent is to break even each and every year. And I would argue, and I think that has been, you know, kind of the thought, you know, the more water we can sell, that means cheaper rates, and that's better for everyone. But I would say that, at least it's my opinion, you know, that, you know, as the water and the wastewater provider in this community, our goal is not to maximize sales. Our goal is to provide a quality product that is provided in a level that is environmentally sustainable, right? So what is a good level? And then this rate structure is a big policy setting piece, right? Where we're incentivizing the right amount of water to use, right? And then we are kind of, you know, scaling our rates to fit in with that goal. And that's what I would say there. We're just kind of fundamentally different.
That's helpful. Thank you.
Any other comments?
So I think we want a board recommendation to proceed, right?
Okay.
Is that it, Linda? Do we need a, do we need to vote on it? And vote? Yeah. Okay. So I move that we include the recommended rate structure in the 2022 fiscal year budget planning.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you, John.
Thank you.
That gets to the end of our agenda for today. If anybody has any old business to discuss, I had a couple of just closing comments. I think one for presentation we just had, which I think at the end, John, was very well said. But thanks to the Sustainability Committee and staff for all the hard work in putting that together. I think the messaging of that is important because it's good news for most of our ratepayers. And I think providing the best possible rates and structure for that majority of, for all of our ratepayers was really, really well done. So thank you for that. And then also, I just wanted to say, you know, thanks to the board and all the public for all these comments regarding ways to prevent these disconnections, this water restrictor program. I think we need to continue the messaging on that, but you know, we really have, as an authority, taken all those comments to heart and tried to come up with the best possible solution in the middle of this pandemic. One that we'll get through together. But I just wanted to say to the public that we really appreciate the impact, and it has guided these discussions and these changes that we are implementing. So I know we'll have more discussion on that prior to the board meeting next month, but this is a tough topic. We understand people are going through hard times, and we're trying to do the best we can to kind of get the media in there. So we appreciate that. Anybody have any other closing comments for today? Thank you. With that, I'll take a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Thank you all, and have a good rest of the week.